Hello and welcome to this session in which we'll discuss cybersecurity controls. When we say controls, what do we mean by controls? Those are policies, strategies, mechanisms, measures, steps. For what purpose? The purpose is to manage risk, manage cybersecurity risk, to safeguard information system, to protect the data, making sure the data has integrity, the data remain confidential, and the data is available. So those are the control. The purpose of these controls is to achieve this: protect our data, manage the risk, protect our system. Now, data controls can be categorized under three type of categories based on their purpose and timing. So when do we apply them, and what's their purpose? To do what? To protect us from threats or incidents. And those are preventive controls, detective controls, and corrective controls. In this session, we'll focus on one of those controls, and that is preventive controls. So first, we'll define what preventive controls are. Then we will go ahead and look at few examples of preventive controls. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, FarhatLectures.com. Farhat Accounting Lectures is a supplemental educational tool that's going to help you with your CPA exam preparation as well as your accounting courses. My CPA material is aligned with your CPA review course such as Becker, Roger, Wiley, Gleam, Miles. My accounting courses are aligned with your accounting courses, broken down by chapter and topics. My resources consist of lectures, multiple choice questions, true-false questions, as well as exercises. Go ahead, start your free trial today. Preventive controls, as the word prevent means, it's like you want to stop the attack before it happens. So that's the beauty of it. So if you can stop the attack before it happens, that's the best way for the company. It's the best way and the cheapest way to deal with the problem, because you are preventing the problem from happening in the first place. You are focusing on keeping the attacker out of your devices, out of your application, and out of your network. There are various methods you can do that. We're going to look at the various methods. Now, bear in mind, this is not all inclusive. There might be other methods, but the point is, once you understand what preventive controls are, then if you see a control, you should be able to think about it, whether it's a preventive, detective, or corrective. Let's go ahead and look at vendor risk management. What's the idea? Here you want to make sure that your vendors, your supplier, third-party partners meet your organization's cybersecurity standards, because if someone cannot attack you directly, they will attack you through your suppliers, through your supply chain. And this could include conducting regular security assessment of vendors, or talking to them on a regular basis, asking them to adhere to specific security practices that's in compliance with your standards. Another way to prevent attacks is network segmentation. What's network segmentation? It's taking the network and dividing the network into segments. For example, we have the green segment, we have the yellow segment, and we have the red segment. And what happens is this: if one of the segments is compromised, is attacked, let's assume the yellow segment is attacked. Notice it's disconnected from the green, it's disconnected from the red. So whoever attacked the yellow cannot move to the green, cannot move to the red. Therefore, they are limited to the yellow. Now, we're going to take measures once we know they are in there, but the point is you are preventing attacks from further taking place. So preventing the attacker from easily moving laterally into other areas into the network, which is good. Also, you want to have safeguarding practices. Practices are, policies, procedures, technology that you would use, administrative policies, to create barriers to unauthorized access, because you want to prevent. That's the whole goal. Practices like what? Like enforcing strong password policies, utilizing multi-factor authentication, make it harder, conducting background checks on employees. Why? Because you don't want to hire unethical employees where the attack comes from the outside. Auto-locking unattended devices. Simply put, when you walk away from your computer, when an employee walks away from their laptop, desktop, tablet, phone, it locks automatically. Setting strict rules for handling sensitive data. What does that mean? It means you let your employees know that this is serious stuff and they have to follow strict rules. For example, when it comes to a password, you want to have at least 12 characters long for a password. It includes symbols. You have to change it every 60 days. and requiring a fingerprint scan for device access, which is making sure that only people that have their fingerprint already on file can access the device. Education and training, that's another good preventive measure, which involve what? Training, informing your employees about cybersecurity threat. Let them know what's the latest cybersecurity threat, and train them how to recognize it. Tell them if we have tools, how to use the tools to mitigate that risk. An educated workforce can be a first line of defense, because usually the workforce is the first line of attack as well. Could be under certain circumstances. They go through your employees. If you remember, we talked about phishing attacks where they get access through an employee to the system. For example, an organization conduct quarterly cybersecurity training where employees learn to recognize phishing emails and are informed about the importance of secure browsing habit. Another good control is update your system, your software on a regular basis. Keeping software and system updated is crucial to protect yourself against the latest. You might have some protection, but it's an old protection. You want to make sure your protection is constantly up to date. And what you do to do that, you make sure your system is up to date. For example, a retail company has an automated system in place that checks for and install updates for all its payment processing system overnight. So every night the system will see that the software company released an update. If so, let's go ahead and upgrade our system overnight. This will ensure minimal disruption to business operation and our system is protected. Encryption is another form of prevention. What's encryption? Transferring the data into a secured format that's unreadable, not readable by someone who does not have the decryption key. So even if you have access to the data, it's useless for you because you don't have the decryption key. So this is a form of prevention. This ensures that the data remains confidential, whether it's stored on your device in a data center or being transmitted over the network. For example, a healthcare provider encrypt all patient record. Even if a hacker accesses the data, it's useless for them unless they have the decryption key, which you're making it harder, which is preventing a successful attack. And that's the whole purpose of preventive controls. Firewalls, those are barriers between the secured internal network, we assume it's secure, and the untrusted external network, which is the internet. You monitor and control incoming and outgoing traffic based on predetermined security rules, making sure if something does not make any sense, don't allow it. So a small business uses a firewall to prevent unauthorized access to its internal network from the internet, only allowing employee access to specific web services needed for work. Patches is another form of preventive control. What are patches? Those are updates released by the software vendor. So when the software is aware of a new vulnerability, they would let you know that we're going to update the software. We'll let you know about this. We need to patch the system, update the system, so you are protected from that vulnerability because it was discovered. So you want to do what? On a regular basis, apply those patches. Now, first you want to apply them offline to make sure they don't, you fix one thing and you break something else. So what should happen is once the software vendor releases a security patch for a newly discovered vulnerability, the IT department at the company should apply the patch to all company computers to prevent potential attacks. Now again, how do they do that? Patch management, we'll talk about this later on, because it's not a science, but it's a topic by itself in a sense that we need to be aware of how this happens. Physical barrier, as the word suggests, physical, tangible measures taken to prevent unauthorized access. We don't want them to access sensitive areas. We put locks, badge access system. So you have to have a badge, security personnel, surveillance camera. For example, a data center might employ biometric access control, security guard, 24/7 surveillance camera to secure the infrastructure against any unauthorized physical barrier. Also, you want to harden your software, your hardware, your endpoints, your laptop. This process involves configuring hardware and software to eliminate, notice, to prevent any security risk as possible. This includes disabling unnecessary services, applying the principle of least privilege, and using security-focused configuration, hardening every device. A server is configured, for example, to disable any unused port, unused entry, and services. Only run essential application, what we need, and use secured language, secure protocol for communication, reducing the attack surface. The attack surface is the footprint. How much do you have access to? You want to reduce the attack surface, you would reduce the attacks. Also, you want to use what's called intrusion prevention system, IPSs. Those systems, they monitor the network like software for malicious network or system, for malicious or any unusual activities or what we call anomalies. It can automatically block or prevent detected threat before they breach the system. So what you're looking for, if you are looking for any unusual activity before an attack takes place, and deal with it. So a financial institution uses an IPS to continuously monitor its network for sign of intrusion attempt. Upon detecting an attempt, the IPS automatically blocks the traffic associated with that threat, preventing any unauthorized access. Now, sometimes you might block legitimate traffic, which is fine. It's better than taking a chance. That's always the case. Is this a comprehensive list? And absolutely not. But the point is, if you see a preventive control, you know the purpose is to protect yourself before an attack takes place. We're still going to talk about detection, detective control, and corrective controls. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. Which of the following is considered a preventive control? So now they're telling us it's going to be a control, but specifically it's a preventive to safeguard against unauthorized access to sensitive information. It's not only any preventive control, it's a preventive control that help protect us against unauthorized access. Is it intrusion detection system? Well, the word detection kind of gave it away. It's a detective control, because after something happened, we were penetrated, we were breached. Now we try to detect what's going on. So A is out. Is it B, data encryption? Is data encryption a preventive control? Yes. Is it to protect you against unauthorized access of sensitive data? Also yes, because when you encrypt the data, you want to make sure the data is unreadable to the perpetrator. So I would say, looks like B is a good answer choice, but let's wait. Review access log on a regular basis. That's a good internal control. But when you review, that's a detective. You're trying to find out if there's something unusual. You're trying to detect it. So C is out. Incident response plan. Well, if something happened, we're too late. We could not prevent it. If we are responding, incident response plan, that's too late. That's a corrective control. D is a corrective control. So you want to be familiar with preventive, detective, and corrective. What should you do? I would advise you to go to Farhat Lectures, work MCQs, work additional resources. That's going to help you study for the CPA exam. Invest in yourself. Good luck, study hard, and of course, stay safe.